everybody? Welcome back to the Unversedpodcast. This is Danny. Little intro before the episode here. Post recording. This is like a PSA announcement for this episode. Yes, it is supposed to be part 2 of Tower of God. We go more in depth, really, about what we like about Tower of God, yada yada. But also, we have drinking copious amounts of alcohol, as the boy Connor would say. So we ramble on and we go in circles a couple times, but it's a good time. So yeah, this is the Drunkcast, as the title is labeled. Still a fun time that we have. I'm not really gonna edit this. I figured, you know what, let's just leave it as is. So that's pretty much it for this episode. And yeah, so just have fun with it. Also, it's Spooktober. You know, October's here. Intros, outros changing. You know, shout outs to Megran and Richie for that Ghouls and Ghosts album. 1 through 3, they're all out. Go check them out. MegranMusic.com, RichieBranson.com. Links in the description for their social medias and for their websites. And yeah, let's get back into the show.
Sorry. I didn't fucking know that.
What the fuck? Are you serious,
in a packet,
dude?
Bro?
No shit.
A little hot sauce and packet.
Where the fuck did you find this?
Fuck?
Dude, I don't know.
No manches way. Hey, Angel. Hey, pendejo. Hey.
Out.
He's knocked out, bro.
Hey, look. Mira. Cholula. Hot sauce.
I should hit him.
Fucking packet. Oh, fuck you, dude.
Bitch ass nigga.
Alright, okay, let's do this.
Sorry,
We're doing the
Get
fucking
up. Hold on.
hell train, right?
Let me see. Let
Yes,
me
sir.
try to take this thing off.
Wait,
vibrate,
so from
just
the
in case.
hell train from the beginning, or just the floor of death?
Well,
we have to prelude it to.
Yeah, I gotta get the shit
have
open
to.
too, just in case, because like some things are like kind of foggy in memory. Let me get the shit open. Oh, I got that One Piece chapter open. Shit.
Oh, dude, that's a good fucking chapter, bro.
Man, what chapter?
I just read
877. Okay.
You know, I read. I'm 2 chapters ahead of you. That's a good fucking chapter,
Yeah,
bro.
man.
That made me cry. To be honest with you, dude. Fucking Chopper and Brooke.
oh man, it's
Dude,
Don't even tell me, dude, because like I just know they're protecting the ship, but I don't know what the fuck happens afterwards.
you don't want to know,
No, don't tell me.
but you're gonna know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
All right, let's do this.
Wait, what chapter? Do you have a chapter estimate of what they start on?
Ah, fuck, dude. I think it's
dude. Honestly,
I'm gonna hit 293 real quick.
Honestly,
no, I think it's 260. I could be wrong. I could be more. Or
I'm
less
not
off.
a numbers guy when I read it.
Yeah,
I
me either.
think
You know?
it's 260 though. Go
260?
to 260.
260.
Yeah, 260. I think that might be more or less close to where we should be at. Here, let me see.
Why? How could a Slayer be at a place like this? This could be at the part. Oh, I remember her. Oh my god.
Wait, let me see.
The fucking that one fire chick.
How are we?
Yura or whatever her name is?
Yeah.
She was
No, I
with
don't know
Rack.
what it is.
She was with Rack when that shit went down.
Where is she?
Dude, no. Okay.
That's what this
No,
podcast.
okay,
is
no,
for.
no. So I remember that part. I remember the part. I want to say it's like one of the one of the family butlers.
He picked
long
her-
story short,
No,
long story
no,
short,
no.
she's like in a bed, freaking resting,
Yeah, no,
because her fire woke up.
No,
remember?
No, you know who it is? It's
I forgot who it was. It was the guy with
it's the butler of
that one dude.
of Mazzino.
Yeah.
He's watching over her.
Yeah,
right
he's
now.
watching her right now.
He's
Yeah,
waiting for her
right.
to wake up because she did too much power, and she
Yeah.
needs to recover. That's what I remember.
That's
hold
what it
on.
was. No, that's what it was. That's like out.
Yeah,
like
no,
before this.
I think this is the middle of white.
Yeah.
Isn't this during the turn, like the game mode or whatever the fuck it was?
This is the pipes. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure this is the pipes.
Forgot her name. I think it's Yuri.
Yeah. This one when they're
Another
catching.
Yuri?
This is when they're catching the flying fish.
I don't remember her name.
I think it is Yuri, isn't it?
This is when they're catching the flying fish. And then fucking
Yeah,
right
I
after that
remember
is
that,
when
yeah.
Bam and White fight, and then that one chick comes out and gives Bam a whole bunch of power. All right, let's do this.
So welcome back, everybody, to the Unversedpodcast. Today we are talking about. This is part 2 to Tower of God. Mainly because the main arc, the latest arc just ended. It was the Hell Train arc
Floor of death.
Floor of death. The hell train is still going on, but a whole arc just passed, which is floor of death, and that was pretty long.
That's a couple months.
It's a wild ride.
It's one of its longest arcs, I would say. Really aside from the tournament arc, when they were still E ranks.
Yep.
Right. This is like second place to that. And before we get into it, we got a couple announcements to make. First is we actually got an email that we're gonna get into on the next episode, but from our boy Mark.
What's up, Mark?
What's up, Mark? Always good to hear from you. One of his questions is, because this is a spoiler alert, this is the section of the podcast. He asked, when is the Game of Thrones one coming out? Because we did announce it. It's recorded. I still need to edit it. There was some technical difficulties with the mic and stuff when recording with Connor. So, and I just kind of been slacking it on that, but I'll have it out this month for sure.
It's coming, Mark. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's coming soon, guys. So, yeah, other than that, we'll leave the rest of his email for the main segment of the podcast.
But we don't forget about you.
And remember, you guys, we're going to be at LA Comic-Con, so be sure to say hi and all that stuff. And another announcement is we got the boy Adam here, which is mainly why we're recording Tower of God first instead of editing Game of Thrones. But yeah, talking Tower of God. But he's got an announcement that we got to share on this podcast for sure.
For sure. I'm actually starting up my own podcast, another sister podcast of the Unverse Network, called Animated Bodies. Just trying to get some work onto that, trying to get my pilot out there. But I mean, I've been part of the Unverse podcast for God knows how long, and love these fellas. Been growing up with these guys, and
I've grown fond of you as well.
For sure, dude. Likewise, man. And to be really honest with you, I very much, when I decided to make a very solo podcast about it, I really very much realized that I'm always going to be part of Unversed. I have to. I'm definitely going to be
with or without your icon, bro.
For sure, dude. I'm very much going to be a sister podcast of Unversed. We've all grown up together. We've all hung out together. Very, very long time. I just wanted to give a shout out that podcast and pilot is coming out. Going to be talking about the same kind of crap. Anime, manga, TV shows, movies, video games, all the shits.
So if you like Unversed, go hit up, what was it?
Animated Bodies.
There you go.
And of course, when that comes out, link will be in the description as always. We're going to, and we're going to talk about it again when it goes out, right? Day one. That's going to be on the podcast for sure. And, it's always great to have an expansion. We got Marvel Talk, and now we got Animated Bodies. It's, we're trying to do something out here.
For sure. I'm very, very glad to be part of this again, especially to branch out, our Unverse podcast in many different ways,
to get the name out there.
Yeah. For sure. And I mean, we've got some plans, we've talked about some plans, Danny, different types of things.
Of course.
We really want to bring out there, try different, range of topics. And I think that having another sister, podcast come out there is really gonna, bring forth more of the Unverse Podcast Network, into the community. I'm really, really stoked for it.
Of course, especially because Adam lives in a different area than the rest of us do for the podcast, so
he's got a lot to say about the quote unquote current events,
current stuff, stuff we like. It's always great to have different opinions on the matters.
For sure,
it's great that Adam's gonna have it because it's like he's got a lot of good stuff to say about a lot of topics. So
hell yeah,
when that launches, be sure to check it out. It's gonna be great stuff.
Some great stuff, man. Great stuff.
So yeah, that's pretty much it for the announcements for the podcast. Remember, if we're always going to be on YouTube, if podcasting apps or whatever is not your current thing, we'll be uploading every episode on YouTube.
Give us
directly.
A shot. You might like us, you might not. Whatever.
Yeah, might as well give us a listen to when you're bored at work. You gotta do something.
Oh yeah.
Well, hey, if you're listening to this now, then hey, you did step one.
Exactly.
Congrats, bro.
Always much appreciated to the listeners out there.
Yeah, and of course, if you're listening to us on YouTube, we're everywhere else podcast wise.
Danny's always good about putting us on every network.
I gotta make sure
good about whoring us out.
You gotta
always gotta
whore out every once in a while.
Definitely always gotta cover all the the different boundaries out there, which is I think is phenomenal. You know, man. I mean, there are many different podcasts I listen to personally that very touch on different types of topics, but I mean, you really have to touch all types of boundaries: YouTube, Spotify, iTunes,
Google Play, SoundCloud. You said iTunes already. What else? Stitcher.
Yep. That's another one too.
That's another big one.
Let me take out the business card real quick.
Hey, there we go.
Oh yeah. Did you want business cards out?
Oh, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
you can re-up while you're here.
Let's see. Yeah, never mind. I don't have it.
Yeah, but I mean, regardless, we do a very good job as broadening our horizons.
Yes.
So to speak, as putting ourselves on different networks, and I think, as far as I can say, I've seen the growth of listeners through different networks.
Yeah, dude, didn't we hit like 2 years already?
Yeah, dude, we actually have.
We are actually...
or 2.5 years.
Well, I'll say it now, and I'll say it again later, but, Marvel Talk hit its 3rd year.
Oh, shit.
Like a few days ago. Yeah,
oh, wow.
on the 3rd, October 3rd.
Congratulations, fucking Marvel Talk, dude.
Yeah, it's been a long journey. I'm glad to be a part of it. I'm glad Marvel Talk's part of Unversed.
You know what? You probably were Marvel Talk before.
For sure.
Fucking you were part of Marvel Talk.
Well, honestly, I'm going to talk about it in the next episode, but if it wasn't for Marvel Talk, we probably wouldn't have started this when we did.
Well, hey.
No shit.
So I guess we're the sister then, huh?
Yeah.
Of Marvel Talk.
Well, Marvel Talk is older by, I want to say they started October, we started January the following year.
Yeah.
So, they got months ahead of us. But yeah, honestly, if it wasn't because of them, I don't think we would have started when we did.
Connor, Shelby, it's all up to you.
Here we go.
Thanks to you guys, bro.
And here we are now.
Hell yeah.
Here we are now.
4 in the morning. Talking about
4 in the morning, almost 5 in the morning.
Shit.
No manches.
When we record this, and let's just shoot right into the episode. So yeah, again, we're talking about Tower of God. A little recap from last episode. Tower of God is a manhwa, right? That means it's a Korean comic. It's a web comic specifically. Which you can actually read off of Webtoons, which is an app you can read off of that's already translated for you and everything. And
I believe it comes out every Sunday night, Monday morning.
Yeah. It's usually there Monday.
Yeah, and it's not a pop.
It's not that popular.
Manhwa. I'm not sure about manhwas. I've read 4 manhwas. One's already completed, so I'm reading 3 ongoing manhwas. And out of the 3, I mean, Tower of God is the best written, but it's probably not the most popular. Because
I could see why though. I mean, because like Adam said earlier, it was in the beginning.
It is a very much slower.
It's a little slower.
But even then, I'm not sure how the status of manhwas are.
Yeah,
really, I'm not into that world.
Right. That honestly, that's a whole nother league.
In the quote unquote weeaboo world, the manhwas aren't really that big, even though they should as much as they should be though.
But the support is out there. I mean, if you remember our Anime Expo episode, I talked to Les in Comics. That's a web. That's mainly manhwa and Chinese comics as well. But no, there is an audience for it, and
there's an audience for it. Yeah, totally.
Tower of God reached us.
Otherwise, Tower of God wouldn't be Tower of God this far in.
Yeah, I mean, Tower of God,
almost 400 chapters.
Tower of God, out of all I've read of manhwa, it's the one piece of manhwa for me right now.
You know what? That's probably the best. That's the best way to put it.
For sure,
mainly because of its longevity.
Yeah,
and its writing.
Yeah. Not only that. I mean, we talked
the
about
amount of characters in the show too.
It's not only all of that. I mean, it's the simple fact of the matter that, I mean, you can have a storytelling, scripture with very good longevity, but if you don't have the character development, the real authentic story to tell, it's really, really tough, And I think personally, I think I've said before on this other Tower of God podcast, I wouldn't get a tattoo of this shit for no reason,
Wow.
I mean, it's honestly, it really baffles me sometimes that not many people really know about it, because it it does start off slow. I'll be honest with that.
Like what Danny said, though, I think it's because of the fact that like most people don't really know what manhwas are.
Right.
Like, they don't know where to look.
I definitely agree with that.
It's not even, but it has a lot of layers. It's a manhwa.
Yeah.
Who reads manhwas? Like,
true. Honestly, before
and
this,
plus it's a webcomic, right? I mean, how long did it take before One Punch Man got popular?
Or Wakfu.
Or Wakfu.
The French.
Mob Psycho before it got an anime.
Before Mob Psycho was, that's... But I think Mob Psycho picked up off of the One Punch popularity.
Right, because it was from the same...
Yeah, it was the same from one.
It's from one, yeah.
You know, but right. I mean, ultimately, if you... I think we've said this before in the last podcast of Tower of God. If you do have the chance to read it, really do employ that you do. You know, we are giving a disclaimer. It is a little bit of a slower start. But once you really start getting into it, once you really start developing that connection to the characters, you know, you really start to recognize that, wow, this is actually a very drawn out, very
profound.
Profound as well. You know, story told. You know,
it just baffles me how much thought the manhwaka
the author for like
the author for this is like how much thought he puts in not only to like the characters but to like not even the main characters but like the side characters too, like and each arc you like wake yourself up to like, wow, there's so many other personalities in this world.
Dude, that's why Tower of God would be the perfect MMORPG.
I definitely agree.
Because it's honestly like
hands down.
When I said this last episode of Tower of God, but when checking out the wiki,
it's phenomenal.
There is so much. You know, there's so much information on the wiki.
I mean,
I need to glance at that. The
thing with that too. I mean, with MMORPGs, you really want to get that really good classic RPG feel to it. You know, no matter what type of classes you choose, but with Tower of God, you have the
You already get like told what classes there are.
Exactly. You get the basic of the basics, and from there on, it really is just developing everything else on top of that. And for me personally, I think it's a phenomenal fucking thing.
Like, no lie, sometimes I forget like these classes exist.
Exactly.
And like I forget that Iraq is a freaking like spear bearer. I'm
right.
Like, oh my god.
You know, or that
Bam is a wave.
Yep, a wave controller. You know, it's a phenomenal thing.
Sometimes but it's cool too because it's really nice too because they're still prevalent even in like this late in the story.
Precisely.
Where like even still like you don't have to say anything about what classes they are. You already know just by like
precisely
what they do. You know. Like Bam is straight up wave controller. Like everybody has their own class,
and it's. I mean, honestly, and I mean, I'm a very big Final Fantasy player. I love Final Fantasy.
I've played it. This is what it reminds me of. You know,
I've played it. You know, since as long as I've been born, and for me to have found a story that really describes every class to a T, you know, it really brings forth not only the character development, but actually the development of the class itself. That, wow, as you're reading this, it's like, oh wow.
I don't know if you can do that.
Yeah, right. It's like the character you like leveled up. Oh, that's fucking badass. I want to know more. What else can they do? And it's a really growing thing as you read along with it. You know, you almost get so much more, you almost get really engaged with it that it's almost like you're actually playing an MMORPG.
Yeah.
I'll be really honest with you.
Honestly.
You know, and you're almost excited every single week. It's like, oh, what are they going to do next? Like, what else can they do? You know, and it's really phenomenal to me. You know, as like I said, as a very big Final Fantasy player, you know, having to see all the different types of classes, to see the development of what these classes can actually do is what really, really brings it forward to me as a reader, that I'm like, I really want to know more. I'm really intrigued.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially with the arc we're talking about, the Floor of Death.
Oh my goodness.
There is...
That's in it by itself.
So when we last left off on the last spoiler alert of Tower of God, we mainly talked about all the plot up to the current chapter we read, which I believe was... they were actually at the station, if I remember correctly.
I believe so.
With the quote-unquote fallen princess of Jahard. And if you don't remember, this She was
Arlen.
I forget her name.
Arlene.
Yeah, Arlene. She was nominated to be a princess, and one of the tests was they sent out a boy, and she fell in love, and that caused her to fail, because one of the rules of being a princess is you really can't fall in love. Like, you're a princess until you're not.
It's almost like a Disney princess.
No.
Well, the opposite of a Disney princess.
No, okay. I just wanna like edit that part. It wasn't Arlene. Her name was actually
No, Arlene.
Garum.
Yeah, there you go.
Her name was Garum.
Correction.
Garum's the heart. The lady with Arlene was supposed Bomb's mother.
That is true.
Dad's mother.
Oh, yeah, we're jumping ahead.
Yeah.
Whew, you're right.
So it's Garum. Dude, thanks God for this freaking fandom wiki. Thank God.
Yeah, but hit the wiki if you're ever confused or lost.
Yeah,
like
there's just so many characters, man.
Dude,
it is also 4:30 a.m. in the fucking morning.
We have our drinks here, and the amount of manga I've read. I mean,
it all ties together. I can't.
This is pretty strong,
bro. I'll be surprised if one of us like mentions Zangetsu or some shit.
Yeah, dude.
So the floor of death starts off with, I believe we left off with
we left off at the train station.
So see, we left off with Bam looking over at with his team that he had currently, and goes off over into another team with a primary character, which is now a very strong character in the storyline, called Hockney, which actually,
Hockney,
I mean,
dude,
I think phenomenally, his primary ability is pretty fucking awesome. He can see a few seconds into the future. I mean, any character in any story who can see a little bit ahead of anybody else is a very force to be reckoned with, no matter what, whether he is strong or not. So it starts off with that, and it starts off with him wanting to leave this floor of death, and the impression that we get immediately is that the rankers and the for lack of a better word, the individuals stuck on this floor of death cannot leave this floor. He wants to help them, or even just help himself, want to get to the next level. He wants to be able to leave this land and be able to explore what actually is going on in the tower, which, I mean, I think we talked about before. Every floor of the tower is the size of a country. So, I mean, when you think about that,
this place is huge.
Right.
I have no idea.
Dude, the tournament arc. I mean, when it was not even the tournament arc. The part after that, when they had to go grab the baby god, basically, right? When we first saw Jovial Grace meet Mazzino.
Right. You know what really freaked me out? How big this place was. Remember, like early on, they were in a room. Right? They were in a room like blue sky, everything, but you see lights at the very top, like they were all. Yeah,
it was almost like a Big O type of feeling to it. Like, you knew that there was somebody always watching you. But what the thing I really liked,
you're never really outside,
right? Exactly. And you really, really looked at it like, wow, this is the world I'm living in, but also in the same factor of that, there is a so much bigger world that when it's actually going on. Mm-hmm. It's almost like you're inside of a cube, inside of your own cubicle at work, so to speak, and you look around and you're like, wow, there's a whole nother fucking world out there. Mm-hmm. And that's Tower of God, man. To me, that's phenomenal, because they really take forward on that. It's a really phenomenal thing for them to really say, you know what? Yeah, this is your world, but also you're not fully part of the whole world. And for me, reading different many novels and stories as I've had, read throughout my time, that's a very hard thing to play upon.
Yeah.
Because you then bring your character to realize themselves that, wow, I thought I was a bigger picture, but really, I'm just a small piece of the puzzle.
In this case, Baum always, I feel like Baum, if he hadn't said it before, I feel like Baum always felt that way, where he's like, I'm just a small piece of the puzzle.
Right. I'm not anything
important. No, until he actually enters the tower and realizes what he actually is. And he's
and for sure.
I mean, it's not even until jovial grace till he starts to grasp.
Yeah, where he really is, what he really is.
His own existence.
Right. I mean, so it definitely does start off that way, where he realizes himself. I mean, if you start to read this manhwa, you immediately realize that there is this dynamic of a character named 25th Bomb, and he notices that there are stars out there. Mm-hmm. But he also realizes that these are not the complete stars that he wants to see. And it's almost like a very desiring factor that I want to know where the ultimate stars are.
Yeah.
I want to know where the ultimate end really is.
It's that want that pushes him towards...
And that's why I definitely agree that if this was going to be an MMORPG, it would do very fucking well, because it has the ultimate essence of an RPG that, okay, you have a character A that wants to get, to stage B. What is it going to take to get there? I understand what is here and now, but do I understand what is really there? And that's what I really, really like about Tower of God, is that it really brings the full dynamic of not only characterization and character development, but your complete surrounding. And that's very key, in my opinion, to any type of MMORPG, any RPG in general. I mean, you look at Chrono Trigger, Chrono Trigger, any Final Fantasy type of series that, okay, you have character A wants to get to, stage B. What is it going to take? And I think that ultimately it's
a lot of grinding.
Right. A lot of fucking grinding. But I think especially in this arc, the Floor of Death, there's a lot of self-realization, a lot of self-actualization throughout the dynamic of the characters, of the different teams that are going on, that really bring forth the whole dynamic of, wow, I'm only on said floor in the entire tower. How much more is left? And I think that's very. I think
that's how it would be when I was there. If all of us were there,
right? And I think that's something to be really noted.
Where the hell did this end, or where do we stop?
See, so that's the crazy thing about the Floor of Death, is that it answers a lot about the tower, which is kind of crazy. A little backstory to the Floor of Death is every floor has an administrator, which is the god of that floor, right? They
almost like a final boss type of way.
It's
right.
No. I mean, like he's the judge from tactics.
There's an administrator for every floor. Yes. The administrator sets a set amount of rules for each floor that the characters go through.
Also adjust their power level as well.
Right. So the administrator basically keeps check on everything, and like, let's say a really strong person comes through, they limit the amount of power they can exert in that floor.
Contract as well.
Through that contract. So like, if they want to, let's say, use this force like, let's say Star Wars force type of thing, they call Shinsu at this kind. Mm-hmm. They have to make a contract with the administrator to use that Shinsu. Otherwise, they're just a regular like person like me or you.
Yeah, and the administrators, they take control of the Shinshu, and they set the max of what your output is.
Shinshu being, let's say
Shinshu
like,
chakra chi.
That's
it's just this world's version of that. But this Shinshu itself is very much more in depth into the world and to the characters, because the biggest question in Tower of God that I've always had is, how are these people live this long?
Well, I
mean, it always like, I'm assuming
I'll be real with you. In my opinion, how they live this long is because there was a specific floor. I believe it was where Wangnan, the character, in the Red Light District, came out to be. And I believe the second
what he was starting out
called the second season of Tower of God,
where he was barely starting out, or what?
Yes,
okay.
Where they had
the 20th floor, to be precise,
where they had really fully described that in every single floor there is a sustainable amount of environment. Mm-hmm. So no matter what floor you were in, you are always guaranteed to at least survive if you are willing to. Mm-hmm. But if you are willing to surpass that For sure, you can. But again, I mean, even in that floor alone, Wang Dan, the character in and of himself, failed numerous times. Uh-huh. It wasn't until he was able to find a team that was able to help him carry on that he could actually climb the tower. Again, it really comes down to realizing that this is your floor, but you know where your stars are at. You know where you want to go. But also, beyond that, are you comfortable in the floor that you're at? And I believe through the dynamic of the characters,
I didn't think of it that way.
They really realize that actually I'm not okay. Do you want to
stay here, or do you want to just
precisely
keep looking on?
Well, that was the perfect dynamic of the 20th floor.
20th floor was the place where a lot of people just stopped climbing.
Because,
they're like, I can't go past this.
And the reason why is because of the hell train. The hell train is literally in and of itself a hell train. It literally drives...
Like, they don't call it the hell train for nothing. It literally is like fucking...
It drives you to...
Trials after freaking, like, tests.
Not only that, it drives you to insanity, to death, to any type of negative animosity that you would have, not only towards yourself, but to your teammates. Mm-hmm. And for the creator, SIU, to really bring forth this floor of death,
which is on the hell train.
The name itself.
The hell train goes to Florida.
Yeah,
does it? I thought it was not.
No, it goes to Floor of Death.
Okay, so the background to the Floor of Death. I
thought the Floor of Death was like a compartment on the hell train.
No, the Floor of Death. It used to be a floor, but
because
an irregular showed up, and he killed the administrator. Something that was never thought of until this irregular did it. I forget his name. He is, I believe he's the second irregular to show up in the tower since Zahard completed the tower, quote unquote. So he killed the administrator, and that's another thing with the administrator is they control the Sinsu. So by him being dead, there is no control. And it finally explained it because, like we said, with the failed princess, it's like she was guarding that train station for 1,000 years. I'm like, how are you alive for 1,000 years?
There's a good segue. It basically, the Floor of Death is the place.
I think
where
it's like 38 or something.
The king of the whole tower, Zahard.
Yeah, Zahard. Yeah.
He basically.
Well, he also cursed that floor.
Yeah, he cursed that floor because Arlene, his wife, so-called.
His so-called wife.
Yeah, his queen, basically, she had a child with somebody else on that floor. So he went there and basically, like, cleaned house.
Right.
Basically killed the administrator. He didn't. Not killed the administrator, but like...
It was somebody else. But,
and Ryu.
We're getting into a bunch of other stuff, but, the reason why is, this floor is skippable. Normally, because
you could go past it.
They let you go past it because it's not safe there, because no Swinshu means no immortality, which is what they explain. Sinshu gives you that immortality.
You guys are
this is during the arc, dude.
Yeah, no. And also the fact that once you find yourself into this floor of death, when you actually allow yourself into the Floor of Death, you have to trade your soul in.
Yes, you do.
So
you're talking about the city.
You have no. You have to copy your data into this.
No. You're talking about another floor.
Fucking shit.
You're talking about the train.
No, you see how big Tower God is?
When you go into the Floor of Death, you have to trade in your soul to allow yourself.
The main area.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you have to trade into your soul to allow yourself into the Floor of Death. And the reason for that being is that because the administrator is dead, there is no control of the Shinsu. There's no control of really anything at all besides the souls in that area. And the only people in control of that area are, as we've talked about before, the 10 great families. Any one of the 10 great families. But if they are appointed to that role, which again goes to the great dynamic of Tower of God is, okay, you have 10 great families. What are their roles? It's almost like, Shakespeare, Romeo and Juliet. what are the family's roles?
Mm-hmm.
This family is meant to do that. X family is meant to do that. And that's another thing. And that's what I really liked about The Floor of Death, is because it really brought about the dynamic that, okay, sure, we have 10 great families. We've talked about them for a great long fucking time. But here's what they actually mean. Here's where they actually have some type of control within the tower. This tower that within every single floor has a fucking country, size amount of control over anybody that sets foot into it. And that's what's really remarkable to me, as a reader, because I look at it like, wow, you have the main, character, Bomb, who looks at it like, I'm just trying to climb the tower to do what's right for most folk and, achieve what I want to achieve. But in reality, it's like, no, you still have limits yourself. And we are going to make sure you abide by those limits.
See, that's what I like about Tower, because that wasn't his original goal, to climb the tower in the beginning.
Well, I mean,
exactly. his
original
changed.
Yeah, his original goal was, I need to follow Rachel, because Rachel was literally his world.
Basically his god.
It was literally all he knew.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, and for sure, in many different stories, you have a character who grew up with, character B, and that's all that they knew. That was their entire life. That was their entire world. And when character B leaves, what does character A do?
Gotta follow B.
They gotta follow B, and and in some cases, it does work out well for character A, but in other cases, it becomes to be a very much more tragic thing. And in this type of scenario, it is a much more tragic thing. It is very much more an awful thing to follow what is going on. And
right.
I mean, if you are a reader of this series, you understand very truthfully, what we say when, if you follow what your heart tells you, you are going to fall into an abyss. But at the same time, in a very different dynamic type of analytical way, can you look at that abyss as an escape? And that's what's tough. I believe, I mean, as a very strong reader of Tower of God, I have a fucking tattoo. I said this before. I have a fucking tattoo of Tower of God. As a very analytical reader of this, you're looking at this, this story as a very analytical type of thing. You have A going to B, and it's very tough. Everything that you put your trust and faith and hope into, almost like a religion, and it comes back at you and backlashes at you like Inuyasha with a backlash wave, and it beats the crap out of you. And it,
you wanted to use that since you were outside.
I fucking wanted to use that shit when I was outside. But you know what? It really makes you think, like, wow, what made this creator really realize and accept that it was okay for this main character to go through such turmoil, to go through such bullshit, for him to really realize that, what? Yes, I was conditioned a certain way.
He's literally, like, lived in a cave his whole life, and then just straight up. No, dude.
He was literally conditioned in a way to live a certain type of life, and all of a sudden, somebody said no.
Like where everybody else lived on the outer tower, which is basically the residential area.
That still trips me out.
Then our main character right here, Bomb, fucking lived in a cave his whole life, not knowing any shit. Which is basically the reader. And we don't know what the hell's going on.
And for sure, I'll be honest with you. I mean, like many different various, storytellers and stories, there are plot holes for sure. But, I mean, personally in Tower of God, these plot holes are key points to what the story is developing. Not only with the characters themselves, but with the actual plot. And that's what is really key about this manhwa that we've been talking about for a little while, It's the fact that yeah, it's fucking great. We can talk about how great it is all goddamn day, for sure. But it's the fact that we literally have read and seen how great it really is.
Yeah.
Not only that, but the potential and
dynamic character change in everybody.
For sure. And I mean, for me personally, it's the fact that you have these phenomenal dynamics of not only the main characters, but I mean, I personally have not read many stories, many novels, many, books where side characters actually have their own fucking story where it could literally be a standalone in and of itself. And Tower of God really delivers it to you in a way that it's not so, what's the word I'm looking for?
Every character is not a freaking side character.
Right, there you go. Every character is not side. Every character has their own story to tell. And it does not distract from the main plot. And that's what I really appreciate about Tower of God. Especially more so in this, Floor of Death arc that we're primarily wanting to talk about, because it really brings a lot of the concepts, a lot of the ideals, a lot of the very main subtle points of different different characteristics of the characters very much in the full circle that really make you start to, which I think is phenomenal about any storyteller, start to theorize, start to really think about, okay, what could happen here? What could happen there? What could happen there? Here. It's almost like you're reading, Harry Potter. Oh, what class are they going to into? Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Slytherin.
Yeah.
It's very, very tough. It really brings you to the point where you're on the edge of your seat every Monday morning, really wondering, wow, I really want to know what happens next. I really want to know what is going to be the next scene.
On the cliffhangers.
Exactly. The cliffhangers of this series really puts you on the edge of your seat, wondering, oh, what's going to happen next? I really, really want to know. And honestly, like I said, I've read a lot, but this series definitely puts me on my fucking toes every goddamn week. I never can predict what the author is going to do. And that's ultimately, in my opinion, what a great storyteller is.
Yeah, man. I mean, Floor of Death, in my opinion, it's the best arc so far out of Tower of God. Mainly because of how well written it is. Mm-hmm. The amount of character development that we get with not only Bam, his crew, but also with, to a sense,
different dynamics.
To a sense, even with, I guess, Rachel, she gets some character development. I mean,
Rachel,
we all agree here.
You get
Rachel's
Mazzino.
a bitch.
Oh, for sure. But you get Rachel, you get Mazzino, you get Andrassi, you get Yuri.
Yeah.
What is that fella's name?
Yuri's
guide.
And then her guide, the little dwarf.
The little dwarf.
Silver dwarf.
Yeah. You get him. You also get the guide's story, which is, forgive me if I'm fucking pronouncing this wrong, because I don't fucking know how to pronounce it.
It's Korean.
Hwayun Ryun.
Hwayun.
You're probably pronouncing the best that we can. Like
Hwarang.
Yeah.
Like Hwarang, but
Hwarang from Tekken.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right. No, I mean, her story alone, her guide story alone in this arc, honestly,
oh my god, dude! I have no idea what she's doing.
No, I'll be really honest with you. It really brought a whole nother fucking circle to this.
Fuck yeah, dude!
To this whole fucking clusterfuck.
Like a whole new mystery for me.
I literally sit there and I read it and I reread it and I'm like,
what is she doing? Like, what is her goal, dude? Who's she following?
Precisely. It's like, who is
like she's a guide, right? She's supposed to.
Well, dude, that's the thing with the Floor of Death is, in a sense, it could be its own story.
Yeah.
Right? When Floor of Death started to where it ended,
right?
That could be its own manga, dude. Its own manga.
For sure.
Anime,
pretty much, yeah.
For sure.
That was so many good
things. There's a lot of very intricate details in the Floor of Death between the guides and the players and the actual intricacy of the plot underneath everything. But the fact of the matter is that I mean, like every good storyteller, there is an ultimate plot, there is an ultimate goal, there is an ultimate evil.
For sure.
But it is, how do you get there? Mm-hmm. I mean, it started off with a character who could see into the future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hockney.
You know, he could see into the future because of the fact that...
Because of his eyes.
Spoiler alert, Gerry.
Which is the name of the segment.
Spoiler alert, he could see into the future a few seconds. And when he realized this, spoiler alert, he was drawing a character that he knew, personally. A female he knew. And he saw her die. And he stopped midway throughout his artwork and said, stop. And she still died. And that was really the point of him as a character. In his primary, most form of character development, he had said, no, I can't live this. Mm-hmm. And from there on in, everybody else came into the story.
For real?
And that was the greatest fucking point of it all. That was the start of the Hell Train arc of the Floor of Death.
Yeah.
Okay, going back real quick. Sorry to interrupt, but that guy, that little silver dude, his name's Evan.
Evan, yeah.
Evan at Draw.
So yeah, I mean, we get a lot of new characters. Like what Gerry just said, Evan, he's been on the train. I think we talked about this last episode.
No, he's been with Yuri for like the longest time.
So
since the beginning. This dude. Look.
So what we've realized is that
excuse me, Evan, dwarf.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. So to put it all, a little bit full circle as far as we know as readers, every princess has a guide.
Yeah.
What I've realized,
the tower
every main princess,
because the tower is so huge, so like big, so vast. The princess needs like a veteran or a seasoned,
right? If you will, someone who knows guide, the ropes,
so who knows around, who knows the shortcuts, who knows basically the ins and outs of most of the tower.
Well, I mean, but that's their power. That's the guide's power.
Right.
I want to say, honestly, it's power. I would say it's like just like learning and like.
Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. No, it's their power, dude. They read the Shinshu of the world.
Right. I want to expand on that. As far as I've read, as guides are, in this story, they look to be someone who knows certain. It's almost like witches in the real world. They know certain things that they're not going to tell certain people, and they're willing to go around and say, "Hey, do this." Why? I'm not going to tell you why, but you should probably do it. You son of a bitch. But it very much, especially Evan, if I'm correct, he very much plays with this factor that, hey, I know what you should do, but are you going to do it? Mm-hmm. And that's the thing. It very much gives a play on character of, you have dynamic A and very stoic B. Like, I know what you should do. Are you going to do it? And you have dynamic A, like, I'm going to do it because I fucking want to. And it very much builds, in one way, character development. 2, in a way, plot development. And 3, in a way, okay, I honestly don't know where the fuck it's gonna go, but I'm gonna keep reading.
Yeah,
because I'm very much intrigued in the way that, you have certain characteristics go extremely different dynamic ways that could expand this universe. I mean, this universe alone, this Tower of God universe, like we said before, a country is the size of the floor to our extent of knowledge. So if you were to expand on that, if so to speak, who the fuck knows how big it really could be, And that's the thing, is that it could be so grandiose that we really don't know, because obviously we go by what storyteller tells us.
I'm sorry, I just realized I gotta reread to where I was, because I'm reading through the wiki and I do not remember none
Shut
of this.
the fuck up, motherfucker.
Shit, dude. No, but...
Well, yeah, Floor of Death, another reason why it's one of the best is because it really explains a lot about the universe, about characters.
Exactly. And not only that, it definitely fills a lot of plot holes. I mean, a lot of different animes, mangas, manhwas, TV shows in general, film. This floor of death, in and of itself, of Tower of God, fills plot holes to a T, to the point where you literally have no questions. You have no more questions. And you just want to reread the damn chapter to really look at yourself or look at your neighbor and be like, hey, what the fuck did you think?
At the same time, you don't remember what fucking chapter it was.
Because you're fucking behind, motherfucker. Yeah, dude. You know? But, I mean, if you were to look at your neighbor and say, hey, you know, like, what did you think? And they look at you like, I have my own theory. For sure. That's great. Mm-hmm. It's always great to develop your own theory about what is going on, but there always, I mean, as a writer myself, as a storyteller myself, there always is an ultimate motive. There always is an ultimate story.
There's going to be one at the end.
An ultimate ending. There's always, like Gerry said, there's always an ultimate ending. Mm-hmm. But how are you going to make that happen? And that, in my opinion, is the key part of making a great fucking story.
You gotta not have the ending like done already.
Exactly.
You gotta have it like shift and morph with every detail you have. No, dude. With every detail you have, you gotta like you have a gist of what the ending is.
Well, that's then the thing, you gotta like sense, yeah.
Yeah, but then you gotta shape it into what you're like creating, like
but
to get there, you know.
But at the same time, you also have to acknowledge the steps that took to get there.
Exactly. You can't just like delete it all. Like
I don't want to know where One Piece is or what it is. It's you gotta go. You gotta.
No matter how bullshit it's gonna be, me and you agree, it's gonna be all about the journey.
For sure. No, it's always one of those things.
But honestly, I like the theory, but it's a different episode.
For sure, you know, it's always one of those things that you have to look at like a very, for lack of a better word, critically. You know. If you want to look at a story critically, you look at it, its dynamic, its ending point, as what it presents itself to be, its beginning point, and what ending point is what it presents itself to be, and really look at it like, okay, I mean, One Piece example. We all love One Piece here. We all love One Piece in the Cerberus podcast. I have a fucking One Piece tattoo on my arm. You know? I have the Straw Hat fucking Jolly Roger tattoo on my arm.
Both arms. The fuck?
Yeah, we got fucking Jolly Rogers on our arms. But the fact of the matter is that it does fit the theory that it is a hat. It is something of the most important factor of the series.
Yeah.
A simple hat.
Yeah.
Something that is symbolic not only to us, but to the character himself. But to Luffy. To Luffy, him, a hat, is the most fucking phenomenal goddamn thing in the fucking world. But to us,
that's an icon.
Motherfucker, dude, you could draw a hat on my fucking arm and I could look at you like you're a dumb piece of shit. But to Luffy, it's the most phenomenal piece of shit in the fucking world. Again, these are always theories. These are always things we fucking jot out there.
I think that wig would be Bomb's straw hat.
Well, we never know.
I mean, especially with the way you're talking about the jovial grace.
Yeah, that wig. Shut up, dude. That wig is his hat, bro.
You're trying you're trying to fucking put.
I'm telling you.
No, Gerry, you're trying to put manhwa and manga together. Nah, man, no, dude. I tell you what, dude. I rock paper scissors on that shit right now.
You're comparing One Piece to freaking Tower of God, though.
I rock paper scissors on that shit right now. All right, let's do it. Let's do the podcast. Right, okay,
let's go.
Danny, 2 out of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I fucking lost. Son of a bitch. 1, 2, 3. Oh, fuck you. 1, 2, 3. Oh, fuck this bullshit, dude. Alright, whatever.
I mean, anyways, let's talk about the new characters.
Yeah.
Introduction.
Totally.
Hawkeye is fucking awesome. I like the way that he can see into the future a little bit. It really gives a little bit more perspective onto how the characters are going to play.
Honestly,
in their new motives.
His personality. Honestly, I think he can add a little more to his personality.
Well, I definitely agree.
So the main thing with Hawkeye is
I don't see him.
He is also looking for a piece.
I see him Don't get me wrong. Like I do see him as like a main character, but I feel like he could be a little bit more. I don't know if I'm going to be seeing that in the next few chapters that I'm behind on, but
you're looking at it like, which is great. Yeah. You're looking at it like a very grandiose piece. Mm-hmm. Hockney is a great character in and of himself. I mean, not only through his character dynamic, but also through his special abilities.
No, totally.
He can see into the future.
Yeah, which is like really useful to like the whole story.
Precisely. Yeah. But are we doing spoilers?
Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, this is spoiler, right? Just a reminder, into the podcast.
I just want to make sure. I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but as a spoiler alert, going into the character development of the characters of the Floor of Death, Hockney can see into the future a few seconds ahead of most people in the floor because of specific reasons. I'm not going to get into that right now.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
But in the specific reason that Gerry is talking about, yes, Gerry, he can see into the future in the reason that he does have special eyes to do so. If he did not have those special eyes to do so, he could not see into the future.
About that part, yeah.
And the thing with Hockney is that he feels he is very cursed. Almost like Itachi. If I look at you in the eyes, you're cast into a genjutsu.
Dude, it's because
with Hockney, he looks at you in the eyes and he's like, I can see what's gonna happen.
I read the manhwa like Danny reads manga, like just split second, like
no, for sure, and I do the same thing. I'm guilty of it. But, Hockney looks in your eyes like, I know what's gonna happen to you next, but at the same time, you have to admit, like we talked about earlier. So now, Danny and Gerry.
Remind me, did he give him back like by the end or no? No, he didn't. No. He kept him, right? Yeah,
because there's a reason why.
The reason why. We'll get back to that.
So Hockney, the main thing about his character is he has amnesia, right? And the only reason he left the station.
Plot point, by the way.
He left the train station he was at because he's the only one so far to leave the Floor of Death, and he was at a train station. He's just there. Now, the reason he decided to get on the Hell Train was because a piece, his painting was stolen, or it was scattered, or whatever. Right. It's of 4 pieces, and he believes his soul is trapped within this painting. And he's missing 1 piece, and because of Rachel and...
What piece? It's good.
And I believe because of Rachel, she's working with Foog, and they control Emily. Emily's this freaking AI thing that everybody uses, which is the equivalent to Siri.
Right.
And he asks Emily, yo, where's this last piece? They convince him to go to the Floor of Death because that's what Emily told him. Was
it's Cortana, not Siri. I go on Windows Phone.
What the fuck ever. But that's how he gets into this plot. And he's also he's a main part of the story, mainly because the reason behind his eyes, the reason behind the amnesia, the reason how he left.
It's because there's 2 rulers in the Floor of Death.
Okay, so the Floor of Death.
There's a whole nother story to this.
Well, okay, so Floor of Death. Let's get into it. Floor of Death is a very chaotic floor because the administrator died, and when you enter through the Hell Train,
to give a little
you
background,
see the administrator's body. It's endless.
Yeah, to give a little background, so regular Shinsu, we already said it's like basically the force or whatever.
It's energy. It's chakra.
Yeah, the energy, the chakra, chi, whatever the fuck. Somebody came in and decided to just fuck the place up for a totally different reason.
Not really though.
For a totally different reason. More on that later. He's anyway, Shinsu's all fucked up in that place. Aging exists in the Floor of Death.
But ultimately in the Floor of Death,
the Shinsu's all red, where it looks like blood.
Hold on.
No.
I'll stop you right there.
Yeah.
Because of the reason that the Floor of Death is the only floor where you actually cannot die. The reason
you can die.
No. You can't.
No, he's right though, because
no. So
in order to get in
for that being,
in order to get into the
give your soul up to the guardian.
That's your floor. That's your ticket into the floor.
This is what I was getting into, because this is where it gets. This is where you guys are mixing it up. The floor of death itself, you can die there. There's no sense you don't have a control of it,
right.
And what you guys are talking about, giving up your soul, is
talking about the next floor.
No, is the floor. It's there's the city. There's the city where people live.
But that's a data version.
No. There's on the floor of death.
No, that's a
guys. On the floor of death. There's the city. There's two cities. There's the north and the south city. But in order to get in, you have to give the guardian your soul, so you can enter. The reason they give you that is so that way, in a sense, you're just living your normal life, because you cannot die because your soul is intact.
Okay, but I'll tell you why you're wrong.
Why?
The reason why is because in order to enter the hidden floor of death.
But we're not there yet.
Oh, my!
Hidden floor's on the train.
I'm sorry. Never mind.
That's the current arc.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah. No, floor of death is
to get into floor of death. You have to give your soul of.
No. You don't. No, entering the floor, you don't have to. Entering the city where everybody lives, you have to give up your soul.
Yes.
Now you don't have to go to that city. You can stay outside, but that's where all these giant creatures spawn from.
That's where Hockney first lived from.
All those insects that one dude Mata.
All the insects Mata controls.
Yeah.
They're essentially guardians of
the floor.
Mata being a character, being a character that's been with Hockney for forever.
He's a support character
since he's lost his memory. So Mata being the one controlling all these beasts that patrols around the city,
one beast.
You know?
No, he only controls one beast.
The one beast? Yeah. No, but he could control anyone though, right?
As long as he hacks them.
As he hacks them, right?
He has to be able to get into their membrane.
But in this instance, he controls this one giant fucking
the centipede.
Yeah.
But so to put it into retrospective, in order to get to the floor of death, you have to be able to sacrifice a certain part of your soul.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, all your soul.
Your whole soul. You have to be able to sacrifice your entire soul in its entirety to get into the floor of death.
Yeah.
And then
if you cannot do that,
in exchange for being unable to leave, all the floor, all the residents would have immortality.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Once you enter the city,
you cannot leave.
They won't give you your soul back. Mm-hmm. Therefore, you can't leave.
Right.
And
then that's where we find the antagonist of this floor, Hell Joe.
Yes, the new character, Hell Joe. He is the king of the South City.
Right.
And so there's character design and South City.
Great character design for Hell Joe.
He's great
for sure.
From beginning to end, I think he was just fantastic. Like he was.
They pulled a classic shononen aspect to this character in the beginning.
For sure.
Yes. He honestly, since everybody's trapped there everybody's trapped there immortal without able to leave.
Mm-hmm.
He's not satisfied with that. He wants to leave.
And he definitely, I mean, it was definitely made to give himself the aspect that he is the quote-unquote ultimate ruler of South City. Not only of South City, but of the Hell Floor.
There's Ja and then Sa and freaking the rulers of North and South City. The Grand Ja and Grand Sa.
And Joe was somebody who was able to recognize all the different types of secret areas where souls could
because his original role was
he was just like a tunnel cleaner or something like that.
He was basically Simone from Gurren Lagann.
Yeah,
right.
Basically, yeah.
And then one fateful day, going into his lore, he met Yurick Mazzino.
Mm-hmm.
Yurick Mazzino being one of the strongest characters,
the strongest rankers
in the tower.
Awesome dude.
He is a ranker. We also find out, I believe, in this arc that he was the fastest to beat the tower. It took him
hard.
It took him 50 years to complete the tower.
That's it.
And plus he's an irregular.
But not.
See, I don't.
Okay, look, but not.
I might have read that, but I don't remember that part.
So
that's pretty
beyond
cool.
the fact that he's an irregular. So okay, just to bring it back full circle. If you are a regular, you have to go through different classifications. You have to go through, E, D, C, B, A,
But
S,
I mean,
and all that bullshit.
This guy was a part of the Greek family,
right?
No, he's not.
No, wasn't he? He's a part of the Hoff family, isn't he?
No, he's an irregular.
He's not. So, and then beyond that, you have the regular families, which Gerry's talking about, which
the great families,
which coincides to some of the Kuhn families and families of that sort.
Kuhn, Haas, etc.
But then there's also the irregular families, which Mazzino resides to, which Baum resides to, and those are the families that the Tower looks at like, okay,
shit,
you are somebody of importance. That whatever rules we apply don't mean fucking shit to you.
Maybe I'm just racist. Because I saw his red eyes, I assumed he thought he was
No. So
remember that other guy, the freaking bouncer?
No.
The Hoff family, the big dude.
Look. I'll tell you why you have your suspicion.
Yeah,
it's because when Mazzino first came into fruition, he made the assumption that I'm an irregular. Whatever I do,
right,
doesn't matter to anybody else. So any irregular after the fact, if they came up, doesn't matter what they do. And that's why. But the fact of the matter is that Baum came in and Mazzino looked at him when the trial came to be. He said, you were the first person to harm me. Which means you must be an irregular. Because any regular person could not touch me. And that is the fact of the matter. And that's where, Mazzino had really laid his foundation that I'm going to watch who this kid is. Because if he could touch me, who's anybody else?
What else could he do? Fuck, if he could
Precisely.
touch me, the fucking fast breaker.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, Mazzino, speaking of Mazzino, he does show up in this arc.
He does.
He plays a
minor big role.
It's not essentially a big role.
He plays a little bit of minor role.
It's a minor role because he shows up at the end.
But in the middle of the arc is when he really takes the fucking cake.
No, but at the same time, like you got to think about like Joe got this power from Mazzino.
But you also
have to
recognize.
So like
you have to really sit there and really look at it like, okay, if Joe was not, if Mazzino was on the picture, you have Joe, you have, variable, and you have other variable. Where would Joe get the power from?
Yeah, he might not have been. He might not have been the main character, but one of the main characters. But he could have been. But he's like the underlying freaking.
Yeah, no, he's underlying character on the underlying antagonist of it all.
Yeah. Well, no. See, the thing with Mazzino, is that he is what Bam could be. True. No, because the way Mazzino started off.
It's just different personality.
Well, Mazzino started off the same way that Bam has started off, where he's just like, he trusted Joe with this power, and the power being, it's called the Red Thrasher.
The Red Thrissa.
But
Thrissa.
And Thrissa, but most power in the tower leads to lust, leads to greed.
Exactly. He just wanted to leave the fucking...
to the most devourable thing.
You remember? That's what he wanted. But he gave it to help Joe in the beginning because he saw him do that.
Hold on. Look. Ultimately, as we're climbing the tower, we realize different aspects of different characters and different dynamics. There is a common theme in many characters, and that common theme is how much do you want it? And the Red Thrissa is, to Joe, how much did he want to be a real human being? How much did he want to escape his death?
No, I have to disagree. So,
no, because
majority.
Mazzino gave him. He said, "Hey, you want to leave this floor? For sure. Here's your power. Are you gonna use it the right way? For sure. I want to get everyone else out." And what did he do? He exploited the power.
No, that's not what happened. So the Red Thrissa is basically the child of the administrator.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It could potentially be the most powerful thing in the tower.
So they basically gave that power to.
It's basically it's a maxed out Thorn.
Yeah,
that Bam has. But
and the Thorn is an accessory
ignition weapon. And
right.
Read the wiki, please.
Pretty much.
There's too much explanation. But anyway, so Red Thristra.
Oh man.
He gave Mazzino gave it to Helljoe because like, hey, Helljoe's like a good guy. You know, he's got right morals, and he could really.
Can I stop it real quick?
For real.
The Thorn.
The Thorn is its own.
We're not even talking about the Thorn.
I know,
right now.
but like the Thorn needs some explaining, dude.
Okay,
like,
no,
the Thorn is a big part of the story.
Look, okay.
The Thorn is a power amplifier. That's
the
what
Thorn.
it is.
Okay, hold on. No,
We'll get to it later when it's brought up.
No, the Thorn has to be explained right now.
Later.
No.
At least a little bit, bro. At least a tiny bit.
We're not even talking about Bam right now.
No, Danny, look. The Thorn
you can't just bring
is
the Thorn
a very
whatever.
No. Look, Danny. The Thorn is important. It is literally one of.
I mean, it's the main reason why Bam's there. Yes,
for sure.
Exactly.
But
we're not talking about Bam right now.
No. But we're talking about how important it is, and that's the key. The Thorn is a key accessory for any user. I'm not talking about anyone who has a fucking Thorn. I'm talking about any user in the entire tower. If a user has the Thorn, they have literally given themselves the power to overthrow anybody.
Yeah. Isn't that Thorn the tool to overthrow the heart?
Because it's not.
It's not.
No. It is and isn't. And I'll tell you why it isn't. I'll tell you what it is.
Yeah.
The reason why it is because the Thorn is one of the key ingredients to overthrow any administrator. Why it is because it has chosen a certain user to allow it to be used. Look, let's take a look at the beginning of Tower of God, right? Let's look at Yuri and Bam. Yuri cannot use Black March for the love of her life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bam could use.
He could use Black March.
First try.
And look, and Bam could use Black March the first fucking try. And Black March even said, I don't want you to use me. But you have the power to use me. So I'll let you use me. You wanna know why that is? Because the simple matter of the fact, he can. While many chapters later on, if you were to look at what we talked about earlier, the whole Garam, the workshop battle and after the fact, where she had used different types of items to her advantage. The one item she couldn't use, what was it? It was the ignition item. Because Bam could. Because he could stop it. He could stop what she could use because he had the power to stop Garam's power.
Yeah.
And that is the immediate most important part of the whole ignition cycle is that the ignition weapon in of itself chooses who its user is.
Is it Thorn 2 or 3 pieces?
The Thorn is is one piece. No,
the Thorn is one.
But like how many
No,
pieces?
it's one piece.
It's just one.
It's
the one giant piece that broke into, I believe, 4 pieces.
Exactly. Yeah. So Joe had one.
No.
Joe never had one.
No. But like he had one himself, but he had one like
no. Joe.
There was one on the floor of death.
Exactly. He used that one on the floor of death.
No, he didn't.
No, he did.
No, Joe never had the Thorn.
He used
power
of the Thorn.
I had the intention.
Yes, he did.
See, I had the intention that he didn't have it, but he knew where it was.
No, look.
I had the intention that he knew where he was.
Where this shit out.
No, look. We're talking about, Thorn is the ignition weapon that everybody wants.
Right.
Joe made a deal with Foog to where Foog was like, hey, you're an expert at, everywhere, where everything is. So go find the Thorn and we will let you out of the floor of death. Mm-hmm. And he never found it. Was the thing. And during the plot, right, in order to get the intruders, which is Bam and all his companions, to his palace, was like, hey, I have the Thorn, come and fight me. If you win, you get it. That was his whole thing. But yeah, so the main reason why we saw Helljoe, majority of the arc, the way he was, is because that wasn't him.
Because it was the
Red Thrissa had its own consciousness, and it took over Joe's body.
Exactly, and that's the reason why immediately after the arc, Bam had sat there with Coon and said, "I feel that I have a lot stronger power."
Whoa, we're getting way ahead. I
read it too quick because I don't.
No, hold on.
I barely. No, I remember the shit, but like barely.
Dude, no. Okay, look. Before we get too far ahead of ourselves, I'm gonna stop right here and there and say that is why, after the floor of death,
at the end of the arc,
Bam had told companions, he said, "I feel very much stronger than before." The reason why is because the Red Thrissa
is inside him now.
We're getting way too ahead. We gotta backtrack because that's
the end.
But but ultimately, he goes to Coon, his greatest companion, and says, "I feel that things are different now." Why do you feel things are different now? Because I feel this power inside of me that has never been there before.
Yes, yeah.
The reason why the power has never been inside of it before is because the Red Thrissa has realized, as you've known throughout the entire Hell Floor arc, it chooses who is strongest. It's almost like...
No, that's not what happened.
I wasn't the Red Thrissa.
Hold on. It's almost like the slug from It's almost like the slug from BioShock.
No.
It chooses... It chooses who is strongest. It chooses the girl who has the strongest atom.
I remember that.
Yes. So she chooses the girl who has the strongest atom. Whoever has the strongest atom has the strongest slug. So she has that much more atom than the next gal next to her, right?
But that's not what happened.
No, but it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes. Because when Hell Joe fought Mazzino, it was afraid. Because it was going to die.
Because Mazzino's stupid powerful.
Because it was afraid of death. So just like... No, hold on. This is what we're going to bring it full circle, Danny. Just like in BioShock, when the atom was afraid of dying, you had two choices. Harvest or save. Right? When you saved, you had a less amount of atom. Correct? When you harvested, you took...
all of it.
Maximum power from the atom slug. Just like... in Tower of God. Bam, unknowingly took maximum amount of the atom slug, which was the Red Thrissa, stayed within his body. Up until now, which, whatever is going to come to be, he stayed with it.
You know what I think? I think that bomb, like, being the freaking son of Zahar he is, he's just taking, or whatever. He's taking all these freaking, like all these different sources of energy.
Hold on.
You're saying he's a Sharingan or something?
No. Look. So
no, but
look,
some kind of sponge.
A Sharingan.
Yes.
Sharingan.
I guess then, yeah.
I
never watched it.
Look. This is the main thing with Bam. Bam's main power is that he can learn any technique and master it in a short period of time.
If he's hit by it.
If he's hit by it, yes. But the whole thing,
I forgot about that on the on that first floor.
He has to be hit by it. If he's not hit by it, he cannot learn it. For whatever reason it is.
That's what that fucking disc was from. Oh my god.
If he cannot be hit by it, he's never going to learn.
So look, apologies for jumping ahead at the end of this arc. But yeah, when he fought the when Red Thrissa was weakened, right? Bam just absorbed it because that's how Bam's ability works. Because the Thrissa got weakened by Mazzino. And that's how it got. He just absorbed into that. About that. But that's what happened.
I have a different theory.
So what happened?
My theory. Look. Okay, go ahead and explain your theory.
It's not a theory. No, it's what happened.
No, I have a different theory. I'll be really real with you. Look.
You go ahead and Hell Joe was fighting both Mazzino and Bam. Reason why it was both of them is because for some reason Mazzino couldn't have full control of his
because it was
administrator power.
No. Lack of administrator gave him lack of fucking
Look.
No.
Bam. Guys, you have to remember this. So the thing...
No.
Okay, look.
This podcast is... No, shut up. No. Look.
I'll tell you why.
The reason why...
Go ahead.
Zahard and the 10 Grey families are afraid of irregulars is because they don't need the administrator's permission to use Shinsuo.
That's bullshit.
No, that was explained in the arc.
No.
Wait.
No.
On the health floor, right?
No, Danny.
Anywhere in the tower.
No. Yes.
Anywhere in the tower, they don't need permission.
But I'm going to tell you why it's wrong in this floor.
Why is it wrong in the floor?
Because the administrator is dead.
No,
Shut
but
up.
remember, the administrator...
It doesn't exist.
I'm sorry.
He did. No, the administrator is no more.
Look, Danny.
The administrator controls
No.
the Shinshu of the floor.
Precisely. But, Danny...
And he accepts regulars to use a certain amount of their potential.
But
that doesn't count for regulators. But no,
Yuri
is a ranker.
The rest went there.
Yuri is a ranker.
They couldn't use their shit.
Yeah, because they still need permission of the administrator.
But there's no administrator.
Yeah, but that's why only irregulars are fine on the floor.
Look, Danny, I'll tell you why you're wrong. Okay?
Okay.
But first I'm going to shake your hand.
No, okay. Look, explain your wrong theory.
I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. Look, you are correct in the way that, yes, every floor is administered in the way that you have to abide by a contract.
Yeah.
That is correct. That has been established since the story has began. But I'm going to tell you why you're wrong. The reason why you're wrong is because Enryu killed the administrator. There is no contract on the floor of death. And the reason why there is no contract is because the death of the administrator will not allow any type of contract on the floor. The reason why of that is because when at the end of that arc, Ho Pang came up to Bam and White and told him, said, "You think you can control these souls? Yes, you are wrong. Because of the reason that you cannot control anything on this floor. The reason for that being is that you can't control souls, first of all. I am in control of the souls of the floor. Second, you cannot control anything that comes in or out of the floor because he has been administered, the administrator of the floor, after the administrator has died." And
no.
Yes.
He was not the administrator.
Yes. Because why? Okay, look. Let me ask you. Why? Joe? Shut up. Look. I'm sorry. Look. Then why, when White, when he had gained all those souls, go up against him, and he had told him one line: "Bugs belong. Bugs should belong." And what had happened? They returned back to him, and he lost all his power. That shows alone that any person who attempts to gain control over souls in that floor alone, only in that floor, loses their power. Because that power does not belong to them. It only belongs to the administrator. It still confides in the laws of administration, but it has to allow itself in the laws of that leader. That's why I tell you, you are wrong.
No. So we're talking about the guy Adam's talking about is the leader of one of the 10 Grey families.
Enryu.
No,
not Enryu.
No. Different.
But so this guy, no, he is not the administrator. If he was the administrator, that would mean the floor of death would return back to normal.
Then let me ask you. Why does he have a key? Why does he have knowledge?
Because he's because he's the leader of the 10 Grey families. No. And the reason he's there is because of the fallen princess. And a bunch of other shit that's going on. Because Fugue's involved. Jovial Grace is there.
Danny.
Are you talking about that one guy who shows up?
Yeah.
One of the heads.
Then why does he have the power that he has in that floor?
Because he can control it better. Okay, because Yuri, she's a prince. She's a princess of Zahard, and she's also a ranker. Mm-hmm. And yes, she's still very strong, regardless of stability of the Shinsu in that floor.
Correct.
I mean, sure. She says like, "Oh man, I'm having trouble," but remember, this guy that we're talking about, he was with Zahard when they climbed the tower. He was one of the first people.
I'm stop you right here now. Right.
Yeah.
Where is she in the data floor?
Who, Yuri? Yuri is outside of the city.
So she's not there. So what effect?
Look. You guys are confused about the floor of death. The floor of death is
no.
Is under the body of the administrator.
She can't do anything in the floor. That's why she could not fight.
Yeah.
No, she fought.
What?
She fought.
No, she couldn't.
She couldn't.
Because she even said herself.
Fight to the best of her ability.
No,
she had no shit to use.
She couldn't fight. The reason why she couldn't fight is because she said, "I can't fight in this floor because I have no control."
Yeah.
Because there is no control.
Yeah. So look, she had no control of her Shunshu, but she could still fight. She just wasn't as effective as she would be on other floors, right? And same thing with Karaka. No matter how strong that guy is, he didn't have control. Neither did Evan, the dwarf.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but Karaka always left like when he knows he's already fucked.
But no. Okay, look.
It doesn't really show like how
Karaka and Yuri. Look, this is where they're at.
How the administrator
Yuri could not fight because of laws of being a ranker. Karaka could not fight because of laws of the administrator. Correct? We're on the same understanding of that point, right?
Well, yeah. So administrator means no Swinshu control.
Right.
No Swinshu stability.
Because you have no contract. Correct?
Yeah, because they never show it, but everybody makes a contract when they enter the floor.
But we're on the same page in that. So the fact of the matter is that you have two and more multiple beings, multiple characters that are on the same floor, that are insinuating the same thing, but they cannot make anything happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is the reason why it is the floor of death.
Yes, that's exactly why. Plus, you that's one of the floors where you can die.
Exactly.
I guess a normal death.
Yeah, exactly. A normal death, because you can't. There is no leftover life for you to come back off of. And that's. I mean, I'll be honest with you, Danny. That is the tricky part / plot hole part of the floor of death, because you have these great characters with dynamics that very much veer against what is going on in the continuum. I'm Blaze Blueflan, so I know that when you go against the continuum, it's very, very hard to keep the structure of the story. But in this story, you go against a continuum. It's very, very hard, and it's tough because you have a very strong character, Yuri, who can go against this rancorous system, and then this Evan, who is able to be the guide of the system, right?
Yeah.
And it is a very much plot hole in and of itself, but then it comes to the last plot hole of where is Karaka?
Then again,
Karaka got weakened.
Then again, that's
the whole reason why he never really fought on this arc.
There's this thing, according to Evan, the silver dwarf, is that that the red witches can't really fucking Waryu and all them.
They have no power.
Yeah, they can't look at foresight. They can't look at their foresight in order
because
to go
they also rely on Shunshu, their whole foresight thing. Yeah.
Yeah, so their whole thing is to rely on that and memory and all that shit. So they can't really map out the whole. In a sense that they read the Shunshu. Yeah. And that's the whole point of their guys, that they're the only ones that can read it. At the same time, in the Hell Floor, they established that the Shinsu was really weak in there because it's unstable. Because the administrator, of course, wasn't there. So anybody who tried to go there was already kind of fucked. Yeah. So the only people in this arc that could actually fully utilize their powers is Helljo, because he had the baby administrator within him. Bam, because he's an irregular. He's already fucking. Mazino, because he's also an irregular. You know who the fuck he is. And one of the leaders of the 10 Great Families, because that's how strong he is, because of the lore we get with Zahard and the crew. Yeah, true. Now, the only reason why Mazino doesn't fight, the main reason he doesn't fight like he does, is because He's trying to hold back.
No. I guess he's not accustomed to the floor, and plus he has that bracelet on.
The reason why is because...
No, he took that bracelet off, remember?
No. He does take it off, but he also accepts, he says, I can't be as strong as I can be. Why? Because it's not the right time.
And plus, I think he also wants to see what Bam does.
Exactly. He recognizes his own power, which is great in a dynamic of a character. But at the same time, he recognizes that I have my own faults.
Mm-hmm.
Look, with Gerry, he went back to her, instantly. And you have other characters he went back to, and it's only because of lust, whatever the case is. But he went back to them for the sake of, I'm gonna save the tower for what it is, not for what you expect me to be, that it's going to be. And that's the great dynamic of Ulrich Mazzino, is that he says, no, I'm gonna protect the tower, not you. And that's the very tough, spotlight between him and the Garum family. It's tough.
Yeah, but so I'm right at the end of this, right? Going full circle.
Oh, whatever.
Whatever. No, anyways, there's just so much going on this floor. There's a lot of back lore explaining the tower.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the main questions. Yeah. You gotta get out of here, or what? Anyway,
I gotta get up in a little bit. Get some type of sleep.
Oh shit, it's 6.
4 in the fucking morning, bro.
It's 6 in the morning.
Bro, that's early enough for me, dude.
I have to get going too.
In any case, we have to cut the podcast short because people have to work in the morning. But we are continuing this.
Well, you're leaving.
Yes.
And you don't work.
Yeah, but I'm fucking tired, bro.
I don't work either, but I don't want to take space,
Yeah, I guess to wrap it up, Tower of God is
We're gonna finish it up tomorrow.
Are we?
Yeah, we are, dude.
What time?
Why not?
Yeah, what time, dude?
Why not, dude?
No, what time?
I'll message. I'll text you tomorrow. Today.
Why not?
If you're at noon, then don't call me at noon. Call me at night.
I'll call you at night.
Yeah.
Alright, look, guys. At the end of the day,
unless you say it's cool to sleep at night.
Yeah.
The Floor of Death is one of the most amazing arcs out of Tower of God.
Yeah, I think personally, to add to what Danny's saying, it very much, like you said earlier, Danny, it brings a lot of full circle to a lot of questions in Tower of God that were very much missed along the preliminary lines of storytelling. Mm-hmm. But it very much delivers what readers need to know as far as who the characters are, what they're meant to be, and what they're supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And I think that this arc, this Floor of Death arc, really, really strongly delivers that. As opposed to any other arc that has gone on in this series, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, this Floor of Death arc really matured a lot of the characters that we had.
But the main purpose of this arc was to okay guys, we're telling you what the main plot is now of Tower of God.
Right.
Which
it'll a lot of
we'll talk about it next episode, but I'm not a big fan of what they did with Bam.
No, and neither am I, because it made it to be a very non-spoiler alert spoiler for the next episode.
You kind of already know what he is.
A very, cliche.
Yeah, right. That's the thing. It's so cliche.
Because you kind of already know what kind of character he is, who he's from,
Right, but also it gives it the very cliche that, okay, here's your hero. What is your hero going to have to go through?
Yep.
And shit like that. And yes, MMORPGs, it fucking does fucking fantastic.
But Solitude is really
as far as a solid story,
overused.
It is a very overused recycle concept that, Tower of God does great with it, but it does not deliver the ultimate, experience that what it brought itself out to be. Yeah. Unfortunately, I love it. I fucking love it. It's fucking fantastic. I recommend it to everybody. But the ultimate, piece that it really leaves at the end of the Floor of Death is that, yes, this is going to follow a shonen,
standard.
And it is what it is.
Right.
But for me personally, how is it going to unfold in that, shonen standard? That's what I want to see. Because yes, it does follow the standard, but how is it going to unfold? Because you have many different shonen. The Gray Man, Full Metal Alchemist, that did not follow the standard, but followed in a way that made you think a little bit more of how the character dynamic was supposed to end up. Mm-hmm. And that's what I really am aiming to see, how they create that development with Bam and the other characters. Personally.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get more in depth about this past arc next episode, hopefully. But yeah, Tower God, it's, again, if you stuck this long to the episode, go read it.
You should read it.
For sure.
It's a really
go read
read.
it, catch up,
you read
talk with us about it. Let's have some conversations.
You read some slower mangas. Why not just read this one?
For sure. Honestly, it's not going to take you more than a day to really
Hands down, this one isn't as slow as the slowest you read.
For sure.
It's really good.
It's going to come up at you very creepily, but once it slams you in the face, it's like a train, and it really, really takes the cake, and, you have 3 different viewers talking about this, and that's ultimately when it comes down to story, people who really recommend stories.
If this guy's still writing it, there's more
Precisely.
than just us just reading it,
Well, I don't know if you know this, Gerry, but he's come out with physical volumes of Tower of God.
Of Tower of God? No shit.
Yeah, in Korean, yeah.
I would love to own one. Hell yeah, man! That may be the first.
So that's another thing is merch for Tower of God. It's so scarce, dude.
It's different, though. It's different.
But yeah, but getting a volume is merch of Tower of God.
Sure. Yeah, no, totally.
But he, as far as I can understand, he only has that at cons that he goes to in Korea.
For sure, but when you have that content, when you have the hard copy, actualization of what you're reading, that's a whole other breed. That's a whole other breed of literature, than just reading it on the screen. And I personally know some people who are creating their own manga and manhwa and things like that, and they tell me the same thing. They're like, you know what? When we put it out there, that's when we know who listens. That's when we know who the listeners are. And ultimately, even us as people who create this podcast and talk about these types of things, that's really who we know. What our audience really is.
All we know. That's great.
And it's fucking phenomenal.
We're
here at fucking 7 a.m. in the fucking morning.
Just talking about this fucking manhwa.
I'm fucking tired. But, no, it's, honestly, if you have the time on a weekend, the weekend off, fuck Naruto, fuck One Piece. I love One Piece. I love fucking Naruto, but read Tower of God.
Tower of God.
Spend a couple hours.
It's a good one.
And you know what? It does take a little while. It's a good read. But you'll know when the build-up is. We're not going to spoil it for you because we're fucking great. But it is a build-up that is phenomenal.
It's excellent, man. You guys should read it. It's a really good manga.
Phenomenal.
It's fantastic.
Phenomenal.
What the hell happened?
It is awesome. What was it? It was a... What was that Ethan one?
What'd you say? What?
What was that Ethan one?
What was the
past?
What was the
fantastic? What was it?
What was the link you said about it?
6 in the morning. For Ethan?
No, shut up, pause.
I'll fucking fuck that, dude.
Yeah, me too, dude.
I'll fucking go to bed.
Thank you, everybody, for listening.
For sure, fam. Hey, be on the lookout for animated Bodies. We coming out.
We out here.
Apologies for whatever the mess this was.
For sure.
Copious amounts of alcohol was.
No, man, not even copious. Like extremely.
We just.
Extremely.
Why are you trying to talk like Connor from?
No, fuck that. No, look.
It's a matter of law.
It's no, look. It's an extremulous. I'm making that word up right now. It's an extremulous. It's an extremulous. It's an extremulous amount of alcohol, and we're gonna be back very shortly.
Yeah, guys.
Look. So
tune in.
You have
Jerry, finish your drink.
You have Animated Bodies. You have Unverse Podcast. You have Marvel Talk Podcast. You've got.
I mean, I guess
you can't go wrong.
I guess if you like that guy Shelby from Marvel Talk,
man, fuck that dude.
That guy Shelby
SS Radio.
That guy Shelby is a real guy. You guys should go listen to them.
No, don't listen to him.
Oi, vey, real goy.
Thanks, fam.
Love all you guys. You guys are cool.
Questions, comments, concerns, unversedpodcast@gmail.com. Follow social media at unversedpodcast.
What was it? What was it again?
Dude, the sun's up, okay?
Nigga, I know the sun's up, but what was it again?
unversedpodcast@gmail.com.
There you go.
At unversedpodcast. Anywhere on social media, guys. Thanks for listening again. Apologies for whatever we recorded.
You guys are awesome. Thanks for tuning into this, you guys.
Yeah, this was more the analytical episode of what Tower of God has become.
This is what happens when you add Mr. Jack Daniels to the freaking...
Sometimes we had abs.
Hey, fuck you, dude.
Alright, guys, as usual, we will talk to you on the next episode.
Peace. Most likely soon. Have a good night, fam.
Dude, what happened?
You guys are cool.
We fucking talked for hours, bro. Come on. Let's go.
We'll see you in a bit.
Dude, I was like, come on, let's go.
Yo, took a trip out of state like I often do. Got a tweet from a homie I hadn't been talking to in about a year, give or take. Told him when I get a break, if it isn't late, we should break and get a steak. Had a couple beers, I could hardly handle it. Had a nice hotel, he told me to cancel it. Offered me a couch and all the amenities, full fridge. How rude it would have been of me to not accept that. So I committed in a minute, not knowing it would look like a cyclone hit it. Probably should have pre-screened it, can't believe it, cause no way I would agree to stay if I had seen
Reach
it.
my hand in the refrigerator, cold terror fraught. That food didn't move, mold bearing thought. Old barren spot seemed to be a safe place till I saw a flower pot filled with nuclear waste. Losing my taste, exit to the lavatory, more like a laboratory, stylized Edward Gorey. Is this a horror story? Staring at the John, no soap, no hope, and the toilet paper's gone. Leaning tower of pizza crates, disease the place, and freeze your face to gag on that regurgitation human waste. Roaches like Sandinistas living up the penicillin, popping out the pizza. Oh, the toilet overflowing, reptile brain knowing that you'll go insane if you knew what was growing in the sink. Stop and think about the state of the kitchen, spores in the air, turn your head green and get your skin itching.
Yo, why the microwave gotta be out of order? Nothing in the fridge but expired boarding. Creatures in the kitchen, call the game warden. Roaches got me jumping higher than Michael Jordan. Look to my left, caught a glimpse of 4 snails. Chilling on a piece of pizza so stale. My situation's so fail, I'd rather stay the night at Norman Bates Motel.
The most disgusting, vile, unclean, repugnant living space that I had ever seen was not only before my eyes, but where I had to sleep at. These cats should've got some feedback. Peep that piece of cheese that appears to be growing mold on it. That didn't stop 2 rats from fighting over it. Gotta catch a flight at 6:30 and I can't leave, but I can't believe Dude's spot is this dirty.
Yo, now I'm really tripping. Bedroom condition is even worse than the kitchen. They really need to vacuum with precision, cause I just stubbed my toe on a fingernail clipping. Decisions, do I run or stay? Cause I really don't think I could stand another day of trying to stay awake. Why? Cause I'm afraid of dozing off and becoming bedbug prey.
Cockroaches battling rats on the linoleum flats. Brap, brap, rodents rocking raid gats. The damn cat went wild, feasting on the moldy garbage. Flipping out feral, turning clutter into carnage. Fungus spores the size of grapes from the mushrooms on the window, flowing out like drapes. For Pete's sake, wait a minute, where the heck is Pete? The trash strolled up around him to get something to eat. As a fat guy, normally besmitten by a kitchen, find my fixins finger licking, but I'm horrified and sickened. Why gripping at the living, dripping organism sitting in your refrigerator? See you later, shaking just a smidgen, tripping over myself to evacuate my bladder. Haggard and shattered by your melodious matter. Funky fumes of scat and splatter, feline pitter patter, no but gross a cat cadavers, crowd of cockroaches scattered.